Number 14 wishes to speak with you. Be careful, they're on dosage 5. Dr. Grem couldn't tell if what the lab technician was saying was a genuine warning or if it was sarcasm. What does it want? Dr. Grem asked, looking with stern interest through the two-way mirror at the young, pink-haired woman around 18 years of age. Answers as to why she's here, possibly? Dr. Grem shoots a look at the non-binary technician, who immediately turns away and apologizes with a drop of their shoulders. Kid, I've been around more dosage 5s than you've had birthdays. I think I'll be fine. It just wants to tell me the same shit they always tell me. Dr. Grem grabs the digi-chatbot glass from the technician. He moves a finger across it as his artificial eye and implanted focal cortex scans along the trace of his digit, a thin teal-coloured laser emitting from the synthetic pupil. Okay. He looks up and signals to the technician to leave. Be gone. The door of the interview chamber swings open. Dr. Grem walks in and stands against the glass of the two-way mirror facing the young girl. As the door closes, you can see the lab technician still standing, not gone. I normally give you gleeheads 2 minutes to spout your nonsensical pro-fundamentalist playing with us bullshit, but considering I'm in a good mood today, despite the sarcasm of my employees, I'll give you 3. You're the main manufacturer of Glee. How did you find it? Not shaken by the question, Dr. Grem replies, by mistake. As the Gleehead processes the response, Dr. Grem eyes up the QST MP sitting in a protective housing just behind the girl's head strapped to the wall. The quantum short-term memory processor is a reliable tool for wiping unwanted information from within unwanted inquisitive minds. His most prized purchase from the recently Talon-acquired ex-black market over at Moxie's. He had used it to great effect during these extracurricular activities of his, a reliable tool of the CNPD, but also a very valuable instrument for a drugs pusher. Grem tilts to see if it is loaded with an ion shard. The neon-glowing bluish teal synonymous with ion, the energy source of the century, glows into the corner of the interview room. Grem smiles. What you are doing is very dangerous. What do you think I'm doing exactly? Taking us non-rep pats off the streets? Dosing us with glee and researching to see if there's an antidote to the truth that we are presented? The truth! I think what you're describing is a very moral cause. You are doing this for financial gain, so that you may use the unlimited amount of abundant glee to dose people without risk to society, ergo, risk to you. You take the gateway out of the glee, and you're a billionaire. You think my source is unlimited? What makes you say that? Taking the glee gateway from us is only masking the truth of this existence. Yeah. Heard it all before. Now, you said unlimited. What makes you think that? Grem leans in, closer and closer for the response. I saw it in a vision. Grem's eyebrows raise in excitement. Finding it hard to feign a lack of interest, he feels tingles behind his left ear. His source of glee is unlimited? He had heard that once glee arrived, it was a short period, maybe 2 or 3 harvests at most. Those who were lucky enough to have glee growing on their property. Grem tries incredibly hard to hide his excitement. Should he believe her? What if she was mistaken? A vision? Well, regardless of the truth, it's an exciting prospect. Perhaps getting the situation to be less interrogation and more friendly, lighter, should help to seep every last bit of information out of the punk. So Grem decides to change tact. I just want to take away the bad bits of glee, the bit that hits most folks during or around the 5th dosage. This pink hair is tolerable, but it's the psychosis that our society can't handle. You can't go spouting about the world isn't real, that we are all just inside a weird game played by dimensional beings we have absolutely no concept of. It frightens the masses and confuses the establishment. You can't find or take advantage of a mass market inside a population that's paranoid. Gleeheads are a cancer of this world, a cancer to all of us in the League of Patriots, and a cancer to industry. I feel that it is my patriotic duty, and the duty of the good pats that work for Dr. Grem's agridomes, to be sure that we can supply an antidote to this highly carcinogenic substance, while still supplying it on the streets illegally. The secret police will have you— Don't get me started on the secret police. They aren't very secret now, are they? What have they done for you, huh? He nods at the QSTMP. The girl's face falls to the floor slowly, as a look of trauma seeps momentarily to the surface of her pale skin. I'm sure you've had your dealings with them. Illegal? I'm doing something good. What I am doing is a good thing. I'm trying to make its effects less severe. You do not know what you're dealing with. Sweetheart, I've sold alcohol on many a failed Civitas to know that no matter what, the neggy side effect of a bad substance will always destroy the people surrounding it. Glee has no negative side effects, only an awakening, the gateway. Grem nods along and pulls up one of the chairs. He takes a seat directly in front of the girl. Tell me more about these visions of yours. I'm curious. You say that I have an unlimited amount of glee? The girl smiles. Come on. What have you seen? Glee had been on the streets long before Grem had anything to do with it. He was a franchise-pushing, alcohol-brewing, small-scale business owner, making ether from Patriot footfall bonuses across several establishments over 4 of the great Civitas. He never sought to become a Glee manufacturer. One might argue that Glee found him, but that didn't stop him from building up a black market business and entering the shadow economy, taking lots of ether from the upper rep Patriots, who dangerously microdosed the mysterious substance. Shortly after diversifying into food production, Dr. Grem had been woken up in the middle of the night by one of his supervisors, who told him to urgently come and see what was happening at Agri Dome 4. This particular dome hadn't yet been seeded, but as Grem arrived in his aircar a few hundred feet above, he could make out through the reinforced hexagon dome something happening very strange indeed. Inside the dome, Grem was greeted by jungles of vines, blue, green, red, and yellow, all extremely thick and wrapping around the inside structure of the dome itself. A stunned 30-something male with green dreadlocks and minor augmentations stood with wide open arms, seemingly trying to take in the chaotic scene. This all came out of nowhere. What was in the soil? We did some analysis and found spores of what looks like fungus? Grem can't believe his eyes. Did you run toxicology tests? We did. Grem leans into one of the vines and stares. As he gets closer, the vine seems almost translucent, like a vein. And the results came back. It's mycelium. Within the vine, a glimmer of pink particles swirling around it reminded Grem of the biological holograms he studied at school, blood vessels within veins all flowing in one direction. Grem smiled, a huge, beaming smile, and as he got closer, the vessels glowed brighter and brighter, the neon pink glow illuminating his face. Glee. Nobody knows how or why Glee just arrives inside soil samples. There's no root pattern, spores, or seed trace. Glee is a horticultural phenomena, and its effects are vastly misunderstood. Science has failed in every attempt to understand it. Seal off the dome. Just you and I work in here from now on. Got it, Folly? The supervisor nods yes. Grem dances off towards another long twisting vine, talking to himself. Oh, this is huge, Dr. Grem, my old boy. This is it. The girl isn't as forthcoming with the information Dr. Grem requires. He tries to not come across as impatient, but he's finding it difficult. These visions... Okay, tell me about Profundum. What is it exactly? It's another dimension above ours. I know that already, but what is it like? Have you seen it? I have. And is it that card game that the other Glee heads all talk about? Not all the time. It changes. Our viewpoint is forever in flux. I have seen the game, but there are others. Wars of digital text I'm unable to read, faces staring at me through a screen. Hexagon separation of our great Civitas cities. Glass figures, statues of our people in translucent grey and blue, and now... this. Now what? The voice of a man, speaking my words, speaking yours, entering the ears of the gods of Profundum. They don't realize it, but they create our reality, and these games are merely a vortex of creative connection into our domain. Grem's face is empty. His prophet chimes in his ear. Doctor, sir. I'm busy. You have to come to the lab. The door to the interview room bursts open. It's the young lab technician from before. A curfew has been ordered by Wilfred Talon. We can't leave the sector. Grem checks the LCD panel embedded into his wrist ID. He swipes through a few screens, the weather followed by a news story about somebody called Big B, then another news story regarding a new bar opening, and then finally he rests on the following. Important message from Talon Co. Curfew in sectors 4, 5 and 6, all patriots to avoid industrial zones and commercial zones within these sectors. Shit. I need to leave. I have to get to the lab. That's across 2 sectors. The CMPD will... Fuck the CMPD! It's impossible. All of our stationary cores are on curfew lock and you won't be able to use the air car. They'll shoot you down. The Patriot earpiece chimes. We got the antidote working. You need to be here. I need to see this with my own eyes. Folly, wait for me. Do not touch anything else. Sure thing, sir. I'll be right there. But sir... He turns towards the young Gleehead. You and I are not done. The skyline of Civitas Nihilium feels endless. Not another air car in sight. No transits, no ground car activity, no police. Strange. Grem was convinced that he was going to have to pay off a cop or two to let him have safe passage to the lab, but no, none tonight. Not one police patrol car in the sky. The view panel displayed an ETA of 8 minutes. Grem felt the tension release in his jaw as the confidence of 8 minutes and the insurance of getting him to his destination, combined with the ease of his ion-powered aircar's automated rudder and thrusters, allowed him to relax and stare out at the window. He loved to be chauffeured through the neon skyline. Lots of lights inside of the buildings, patriots on an average rep going about their daily lives. Grem was fascinated as he watched the patriots of Nihilium within their homes. Sonder, that was the word. The idea that all of these people were playing out rich and detailed lives in their own way, yet within Grem's reality they were just merely extras, bystander background artists within his story. And what a story it was. The world's first endless supply of Glee, who not only has Civitas-wide distribution, but also the only antidote that will bring full legalization across the entire globe, if not certainly the League itself. Grem loved ether, but not as much as he loved the idea of improving his rep status within the archivist down at the CRC. Take us up 100 stories.
Aircar ascending.
As Grem's aircar gained altitude, the quality of the internals inside of the accommodation improved dramatically. Crystal chandeliers, wood-finished solid printed staircases, women in dresses and men in suits, all drinking champagne and carefully microdosing in the corner. This was where he wanted to be.
Landing. Destination. Locked. Aircar descending.
And Glee was going to take him there. You have to see this. A slightly older Folly greets Grem as he enters the lab. Folly shows him to the desk where he is keen to make his demonstration. Mr. Akers, I hope what you're going to show me is the results we've been looking for. You've done it, Doctor. Look. Look. Folly is waving his wrist LCD. On it is a display of a green stopwatch. It shows 5 minutes. It's flashing. Folly turns to his desk and Grem leans over his shoulder to examine the experiment. A face packed with pride, Folly drops 2 orbs of pink liquid onto a petri dish that is filled with black organic matter. Folly starts the stopwatch on his wrist. Dosage 1 into a human neural network. A pink neon shimmer surrounds the black matter and then falls away, fading into light. The first dosage is a stimulating effect. He drops in another. The second, the same thing happens again, only this time the stopwatch is ended slightly later. The third, the pink shimmer is brighter now, more pulsating, but again is fairly short-lived. The fourth, slightly longer, a bit brighter. But now on the 5th we should see. Folly drops the 5th dosage into the dish. The pink shimmer glows and a noise is heard. The sound is like an angel singing. The sound fills the room and Folly closes his eyes. I'm going to miss this. Now look, the spread. This is what turns the hair follicles pink. The Glee shimmer spreads in a photonic explosion of pink light in a 360-degree radius. Like a pink cloud, it smokes up into the room and then disappears. Grem is overcome by it. It's beautiful. Folly checks the stopwatch. So this would be 5 minutes into the 5th dosage, pink hair and extremely strong psychosis across the entire neural network. Now, watch this. Folly restarts his stopwatch, takes a pipette and dips it into a glass container that appears to be holding teal liquid. What's that? Liquid ion charge. Don't be a fool, Folly. We've tried this before. The entire laboratory will explode. No, trust me, Grem. This will work. Watch it. Grem takes a couple steps back, but looks on with fascination as an orb of liquid ion drips onto the pink shimmering web of human-synthesized neurostrands. Folly talks through what Grem is seeing. As you can see, the pink shimmer disappears, the noise stops, and the neural strands appear as they were, totally intact. Wow. What does this mean for the visions the Glee heads see? Visions? Folly looks at Grem, surprised by his use of the word. Grem corrects himself. Hallucinations. Well, they stop. Good. But will the host recall what they saw before the administering of the antidote? No. Nothing. Okay. Wow. I knew you'd be impressed. Folly presses the tiny white nub of his prophet earpiece and speaks into it. Prepare the dosage and administer 1 to 20. What you doing? May as well strike while the ion's hot. No. Dosage is administered. Stop! I had to talk to her. Folly shows the LCD wrist display. In 5 minutes, she's going to forget everything. Grem runs out of the lab.
Altitude. Warning. Switch to automatic pilot. Altitude. Warning. Switch to automatic pilot.
2 minutes. Grem's aircar zips across the ground level of Sector 4. Everything he'd heard about Glee heads had told him not to trust them. The majority of society all thought they were just a bunch of wackos, spilling out nonsensical nonsense. But this vision that he had had unlimited amounts of Glee rested on Grem's psyche like a hot ion rod. He couldn't get it out of his mind. Grem had become obsessed. A vision about me? A vision about me having unlimited Glee? Unlimited Glee! A CMPD police car appears on Grem's tail. It hails his comm system.
Patriot, you are flying too low to ground level. Resume autopilot and pull up, or we will engage you and confiscate the vehicle. Unsafe aircar piloting may result in a permanent ban and 2 years in the sky jail.
Grem brings up his chatbot display, presses scan local area for Patriot Ether Wallet. An ID card is displayed showing Police Officer Swiftman.
Patriot, you are flying too low to ground level. Resume autopilot and pull up, or we will engage you and confiscate the vehicle. Unsafe aircar piloting may result in a permanent ban and 2 years in the sky jail.
Altitude. Warning. Switch to automatic pilot.
Grem presses send ether. He presses the number 2. Nothing happens. For Etor's sake. Reluctantly, he presses the number 5 and presses send 5 ether.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Ether lost.
The police car disengages. Back at the interview suite, the door swings open and Grem races into the room. Where's 14? Number 14, where is she? The lab assistant is startled, tidying away a vial. In there. Grem looks at his stopwatch. 4 minutes, 58 seconds. Tell me, I need to know, what did you see? How can you be sure you're right? I have seen the center of your supply. It traces into profundum in the creative form of a teal fungi stigmata, carved several layers into the skin on the cranium of your... Of my what? Of my what? Dimensional twin. And so long as your dimensional twin lives, this supply of Glee into this universe will remain. What does that mean? The girl's eyes roll into the back of her head. and her body slumps onto the floor. Grem suddenly feels nauseous. He stumbles back, his mouth going instantly dry. A profound sense of disorientation engulfs him. Grem stares up towards the ceiling in an existential daze. My dimensional twin.